Drawing has only really had 3 updates, not too much in drawings this time around. You've got the option to select the aligned section view as opposed to the projected method, which was the default in previous releases, I believe. And you can see the image down the bottom corner. You just got a radio button. You select which option you want. You can arrange dimensions. Again, people who use the subscription bonus pack for 2009 will be familiar with this. It's the ability to get a view with a whole heap of dimensions all over it. You click arrange dimensions, you select the dimensions you want to arrange, right click done, and bam, they all fall in line. Okay? Just a quick little VBA code summary. And user-defined symbol folders, so in keeping with the whole folderized structure, you can now, instead of having a million symbols in your symbols drawing resource, you can create folders so you can quickly, easily find which symbol you're after. Inventor Professional, I'm not going to go over too much because Pete's going to do it afterwards. He's going to give you a demo on assembly level FEA, but that is a pretty significant update as far as the release is concerned for pro users, instead of just being restricted to single parts now. The simulation solver and the browser have had some updates on Dynamic Sim, if you're using that at all. And there's this new product that Rod mentioned called Inventor Tooling, which is basically model design. Okay, oh, I wanted to mention on that as well. With Inventor Tooling, he was saying that it is available, if you've got Professional 2010, you've got it, you actually have to download it. Tooling wasn't ready for the final release. So if you've got AIP 2010 and you're interested in tooling, just email us, we'll show you where the link is to download it. Okay? Any new purchases of Inventor Professional or Inventor Tooling, because you can buy it separately, will automatically come with it. Alright, so I'm up to my demonstration because that was just my little sort of brief overview. So let's have a look at Inventor itself. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about here is the user interface changes. I apologise for the aspect ratio, by the way. We have a widescreen laptop and an old projector that only runs at a very low resolution. So if it looks a little bit squashed, I'm sorry, that's why. The first thing I want to talk about is the user interface. As we can all see, we've got this new ribbon option here, which arranges all of our part features essentially into tabs. It categorizes things under tabs. And as I mentioned, you work from a sort of a left to a right concept in things that you do. One of the most common things you do in an assembly, obviously, is place a component. This is another thing I wanted to mention that it's thankfully come up with for me on this resolution, is that if you hover over a command long enough, like 3 seconds, 5 seconds, it's going to give you a little visual tooltip, I suppose it is, that tells you what exactly that command does. So if you've ever wondered what something does, just hover over it for a sec. It comes up with a limited help and then a dynamic help. So you can see really quickly what it does here. Okay, all of your commands are located under all of these tabs. So if you're used to going to the Tools menu to go to Application Options, you go to the Tools tab now and go to the Application Options. From Assemble, you can see what sort of options we've got here. From View, we've got some viewing tools. Quarter section, orthographic perspective. Like I said, give it a chance. Don't just go, I'm not using a new interface, and switch back to classic UI, which you can do. If you're wondering how to do it, I've got a tip on our website on how to do it. Alright, so the ribbon is something that I'll just use during the course of the demonstration. I won't talk too much about it. The next UI enhancements, which I really love, is this document tabs down the bottom, which is going to list all your active documents. And as you hover over them, it'll give you a little preview of what they look like. This is so useful. I have to admit personally, I have trouble going back to 2009 now when I have to, because this is so useful. So rather than have to go into that clunky Windows pull down, or Control Tab, if you like, you can just quickly, easily see what you've got open, see what it looks like. You can even reorder it if you want to. So let's say I want to pull this up there. It's now the second tab, rather than the last. Alright. Last thing to mention on the UI is the viewing options down the right hand side. So you've got your view cube where you're used to seeing it for 2009. You've got your view options down here rather than on the standard toolbar now, because the standard toolbar is obviously gone. So you've got your steering wheel, zoom, pan, rotate, look at, etc. You've also got this tiny little button here that allows you to customize what you want to actually have displayed here. So if you use everything on a space ball and you don't want that stuff there, just turn it all off. You get more address space. Alright, so for instance, I could turn off the steering wheels and bam, it's gone. The little toolbar resizes itself. Okay, so please give the new UI a chance. I quite like it, and from the customers that I've heard from, or that we've all heard from, that have started using the new UI, they don't want to go back now either. It is set out quite well. It's not like Office where you couldn't find anything. You can find things here. Okay? So after the UI, I wanted to talk about part design. The first thing I want to talk about is this option to create new solid when you go to extrude or revolve. Anyone on 2010 is probably wondering what on earth is this. It's the concept of the solid body, the skeleton modelling taken to muscular modelling, if you would. And what it allows you to do is create your entire assembly in a single part, in a sense. Okay, I'll demonstrate it to you. You'll hopefully see what I mean. All right, so we've got a number of sketches here. We go through the regular extrusion process, and we've got an extrusion. We've got extrusion 5 in the browser now. What this has added is a folder to my browser called solid bodies, which has included solid 5, which includes extrusion 5. All right? Yes?
You just unblock that so we can...
Oh, sorry.
Can't
I
see
didn't realise. There we go. Better?
Yep.
Sorry, guys. Like I said, resolutions. All right, so solid bodies, you might think, so what? It's a single solid body. But once I add a secondary feature to this, I got this option here to create a new solid, which will add a second solid here to my solid bodies folder. Now these new solids can be renamed, so we can call this main base, and you can see exactly which solid refers to which object that you want to create a new skeleton model. And some of you are still going, okay, what's the point of this? And this is going to become, the point of this is going to become really obvious, hopefully, once I apply a fillet to here. So previously, if I'd gone to apply a fillet on this edge here, it would pick up that second extrusion, all right? Because it's part of the same part. Now, if I enhance this a little bit and have a look on our side view. Okay, this fillet is being applied to a single solid, not to the entire part. So like I said, this enables you to create your entire assembly in a single part, which is really useful for the conceptualization process. I know a lot of people building mines, probably in this audience, who build everything in a general assembly as a single part and then have to go through the process of pulling it into an assembly and pulling it into single parts and cutting away the bits they don't want. This is addressing that need to create everything in a conceptual part and then take those bits and pieces of each solid body and pull it into an assembly and create components out of all of this. Alright, so if I apply this fillet here to this component, you can see that it has been applied to our main base solid body. It's also in our browser. We can still keep working in Inventor exactly the same way we have in the past. It's still going to populate the browser. You don't even have to look at solid bodies if you don't want to use that workflow. Those of you who do, it's good to know what's going on here. So extrusion 5 now has fillet 3 below it. Alright, does that concept make sense there, guys?